السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصيه ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازيه. نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، إلها واحدا أحدا فردا صمدا قيوما، نؤمن له بالربوبية ونقر له بالعبودية. من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والأوصياء والصديقين وعترة نبيك الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين والخلص من أصحابه المنتجبين. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Reflecting on what I mentioned last week, we have been created to journey on the path of moral and spiritual growth and development. Every day in our life is an opportunity, a new opportunity for us to excel, to change ourselves, to transform ourselves into being better servants of God and better servants of the humanity. And that requires a lot of discipline, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of work. And one of the elements that help us to excel and to change is to recognize our shortcomings, our deficiencies, our weaknesses. Each and every person has strengths, but at the same time, we also have weaknesses, and this is part and parcel of us as a human being. The hadith says, إذا أراد الله تعالى بعبد خيرا بصره عيوب نفسه. If God intends goodness and success for a person, for a servant, بصره, He would point out for him عيوب نفسه, his deficiencies, his pitfalls, his mistakes. Allah will make him recognize and understand his weaknesses and his mistakes if He intends goodness and success for that person. Some people, God does not intend goodness for them because it's a lost case, stage 4. Nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. They did not listen. They defied God. And they always thought they are perfect. They are the best. And they don't need to change anything. Those cases, God is not going to, if you don't want help from God, if you reject the help, God is not going to force you to change yourself. But others who seek guidance from God every single day, oh God, help me. Oh God, guide me. God, enable me to be a better father, a better friend, a better neighbor, a better servant, a better husband, a better wife. When you keep asking God and you really mean it, God will enable you. But there is a process, there is a path. We don't wake up in the morning, all of a sudden we have changed 180 degrees. There is a process. We have to follow that process. One of them, بَصَّرَهُ عُيُوبَ نَفْسِهِ. God will enable him to recognize his uyub, his deficiencies, so he can work on them. He can change them. If we don't change our faults and our mistakes, if we don't learn from our mistakes, we are not going to change. We are not going to change. And there are three ways of recognizing our deficiencies. In our mistakes, there are three ways. Number one, be in the company of people who are honest and truthful. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullah, revere God, wa kunu ma'as sadiqeen. Sadiqeen in this verse are Muhammad wa al-Muhammad alayhimus salam. But also it applies to virtuous people, to pious people in your community, in your family. Be with them. Associate yourself with them. Sit with them. Talk with them. Travel with them. Learn from them. Ittaqullah wa kunu ma'as sadiqeen. People who are virtuous, people who are honest, people who have moral integrity. Be with them. Stay with them. Mujalasatu salihin da'iyatun lis-salah. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, when you sit, mujalasa, when you socialize yourself with the virtuous, this is eventually, it is going to lead you to virtue. Da'iyatun lis-salah. The other hadith says, Al-mar'u ala dini khalilih, falyanzur ahadukum man yukhalil. A person inherently follows his company, his group, his friends. He follows them. He follows them without sometimes realizing. He follows their characters. He learns from them. So be careful of whom you sit with, whom you choose for a friendship, because those friends are going to impact you. Those friends are going to influence your behavior. Choose the best of friends. God has given you the ability to look at the community, at the society, and choose those virtuous. Not necessarily rich, not necessarily influential, not necessarily powerful. Many of them are humble, down to earth and humble, but they carry a lot of moral and spiritual richness. So this is the first element. Stay with those people, because those people, صديقك من صدقك لا من صدقك. It's a big difference. Huh? صدقك does not have تشديد, تخفيف. صدقك. صدقك, it has شدة, تشديد. It's heavier, صدقك. The first one is good. The second one is not good. صدقك is good. صدقك is not good. Why? صدقك means a friend who is with you, anything you say, even if you say something wrong, he says, Ahsant, Barakallah, MashaAllah, wonderful, good job. Even if you do something miserable, he keeps, this is a flattery. This is hypocrisy. He doesn't have the courage to tell you, no, listen, what you said today, what you did today is gross. This is bad. Everything you say, everything you do, Ahsant, 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 Ahsant. These ahsans sometimes are dangerous. Stay away from them. Don't keep telling people. Be honest. Be honest. Tell them what you believe. Maybe what you believe is wrong, but still you have to express your honest opinion about them. Don't keep endorsing them, everything they do. Don't. صَدِيقُكَ مَنْ صَدَقَكَ. The true friend is the one who remains true and honest. He tells you exactly. Imam alayhi salam says, be with those people who have some prudence and experience and courage, and they are not biased, and listen to what they say to you. Listen to them, because they love you. They intend goodness. If they are true friends, they intend goodness and felicity for you. So listen to them. يُظْهِرُونَ لَكُمْ عُيُوبَكُمْ. Those who are going to tell you about your faults. In a private, of course. In a private. They're going to warn you and bring your attention to the wrong things you do. So this is number one. Number two, not everything an enemy says is wrong. Sometimes you have enemies in the community. Those enemies, they vilify you, they attack you, they malign, they criticize you. But not every criticism is wrong. Sometimes, in the midst of dirt, you find some pieces of gold. Do not look at who said, but look at what he or she said. Forget about their identity. Who said this sentence to me? Forget. Look and examine what they said. This is important. Sometimes what they say, maybe many of it is out of envy, out of animosity. They don't like you, but at the same time, they might say something which is true. So you have to accept it. Sometimes you accept it from your enemies. Accept what the enemy says, because it is true. Examine it, think about it, take it home, reflect on this sentence, and see how much of this sentence is true. Maybe some of it is true. Though you are hearing it from a rival, from an enemy, someone who doesn't like you, but his sentence sometimes carries some truth. Not everything an enemy says we have to reject it. Let's listen to it, think about it. Yes, some of it out of envy, leave it. But some of it, it has some elements of it true. Try to learn, try to change. And then the third element of changing, our spiritual changing, moral changing, is to observe the people in the community. You have many friends, you have many relatives. You're going to see some of your relatives next Thursday, inshallah, when you eat turkey. You're going to see many of them that you usually don't see, but you're going to see them, inshallah. Observe those friends. Look at them and learn from their mistakes. Al-mu'minu, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Al-mu'minu mir'atul mu'min. Yara fi nafsihi fi ghayrihi uyuba nafsih. Mu'mineen are mirrors reflecting each other. So a mu'min can see in others, in the mistakes of others, he can see himself. Because he does the same thing. He does the same thing. Not only other people commit mistakes and they have pitfalls and errors and wrong choices. He himself, look at what they do. Observe what they do. When it comes to their family affairs, when it comes to their relationships, when it comes to parenthood, when it comes to their businesses, when it comes to their manners, observe them and look at them. And if you see something wrong, try to avoid it yourself. Learn from the mistakes of others. Isa alayhi salam was asked, Ya Ruh Allah, mimma ta'allamta al-adab? Who was your mu'addib? Who was your trainer? Who was your mentor? Who was your teacher who taught you these manners, good manners, the adab? He said, no one. No one. رأيت جهل الجاهل فجانبته. I observed the mistakes of the ignorance in the community. I tried not to do the same. Stay away from that. I learned adab from the ignorance. How did I learn? When I saw them how they destroy their life and the lives of their families and communities. When they do stupid things, I learned not to do these things, to stay away from them. رأيت جهل الجاهل فجانبته. I'm trying to depend on my memory. And then the other hadith, al-mu'minu mir'atul mu'min. These are the three things. These are the three steps that we can change ourselves and learn our mistakes and try to change them and fix them. Number one, always be in the community of the virtuous. Even if there are not so many, couple of people in the community you need. You don't need more friends. You don't need the quantities. We need the qualities. Even if you have two individuals, good friends, virtuous, stay with them. Stick to those two friends and stay away from others. At the end of the day, our friends also shape our identity and our character. They play a major role in that. Major role. Your kids today, they are not learning from you. They are learning from their friends at school. They hardly see you. How many hours you as a father, as a mother, you spent with your teenage kids nowadays? How many hours? How many minutes, I should say? Most of their time is spent with their peers, with their friends. And they learn from them. So this is number one. كونوا مع الصادقين. اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. Spend your life. Your life is precious. Don't waste it with the wrong people in the community, with the wrong friends. Stay with those who are honest. وكونوا مع الصادقين. Number two is that we listen to the enemies as well as the friends, but also listen to the enemies and see how they criticize you. Maybe in their criticism there are some elements of truth, so you can change it. And the third one is to observe the people. Observe how they conduct their life, how they carry themselves. If you see something that you don't like, then say to yourself, I'm not going to repeat what this man is doing or saying. I'm not going to do. I'm going to avoid. This is a lesson we learn from the people around us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على خلفاء نبيك وأوصيائه وأهل بيته وأحبته علي أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين وعلى البضعة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة وسيدي شباب أهل الجنة الحسن والحسين عليهما السلام وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والإمام الخلف الهادي المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه وجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي المذنبة المقصرة بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Many people having hard time to make a decision. They experience difficulties in making decisions in their life. Decisions regarding their families, their businesses, travel plans, their relationships. They are indecisive, they are hesitant, they are doubtful. They don't have enough courage to make sometimes the smallest decisions in their life. It does not have to be a strategic decision, but even small decisions here and there, they cannot make. They live a state of hesitation and doubt. And this is not good. Besides bringing stress into one's life, it brings also disruption to their life. They cannot finish their work. They always delay, they put off their plans. And for many people, it causes immense misery in their life. So what is the solution here? How do we overcome this state of indecisiveness and hesitation? What do we do? Let me share with you two things from our religion, from our book and our hadith. Number one, it's good to be always cautious and careful in making decisions and to consider the risk involved in this. But we should not be over analyzing things in our life. If you over analyze these things in your life, if you keep thinking about them and going through this scenario of analyzing it or over analyzing it, then trying to accomplish this goal becomes much more difficult for you. Much more difficult. Shaitan is not sitting unemployed doing nothing. He's very active, super active. Shaitan, one of the things that he does, not just to the mu'mineen, to the anbiya. ألقى الشيطان في أمنيته وما أرسلنا من رسول من قبلك إلا إذا تمنى ألقى الشيطان في أمنيته. Even a prophet, he tries to reach prophets and messengers of God to disrupt their life, to create confusion for them. A prophet does not drink wine. A prophet does not fornicate. A prophet does not steal. But he could be a subject for what? Confusion. Confusion. He has a brain like our brains. The least thing the shaitan can inflict on him is confusion. To create confusion, waswasa, confusion in his mind. Sometimes a prophet becomes hesitant. Should I go? Should I not? Am I really the man for this? Some of them left. وَذَنُّونِ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا. He left. Halfway through he said, I cannot finish. I cannot. ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَن لَن نَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ. So it happens to the most influential people. This confusion happens. But you should not overanalyze. You should not overanalyze these things because it is going. You should not be fearful or pessimistic in this regard or negative. Imam Ali alayhi salam, ruhi lahu al-fida, has beautiful remedy and prescription for every ailment. For every ailment. This man, he lived only 63 years, but as if he lived 6,000 years. He has so much experience in life, Imam Ali alayhi salam. And you can find about his prescriptions in Nahj al-Balagha. Read Nahj al-Balagha. There are some short sermons, Qisar al-Hikam, very short, but very in-depth. We learn from them. He says, إِذَا هِبْتَ مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَقَعْ فِيهِ. إِذَا هِبْتَ شَيْئًا فَقَعْ فِيهِ فَإِنَّ شِدَّةَ تَوَقِّيهِ أَعْظَمُ مِمَّا تَخَافُ مِنْهِ. If you fear something, you are hesitant, you don't know whether to do or not, then face that situation. Engage it. Go ahead with it. Be brave. For your illusory fear of it, it's actually greater than facing it. You have fear inside you. This fear is bigger than the thing itself. Sometimes you don't know whether you make this trip or not, this purchase or not, this business or not, this surgery or not. It turns to be your fear is much bigger. When you do the surgery, everything is easy. When you go on to the trip, when you sign the deal, things will turn very easy. So sometimes you have fear. The fear is bigger. Imam Ali says, be brave. Be brave. Then, my friends, we as believers, we have someone above us who is our guide, our protector, our father, spiritual father. He's not leaving you alone. إِنَّنِي مَعَكُمَا أَسْمَعُ وَأَرَى. Put your trust. We have an item in faith called التوكل على الله. Imam Rida alayhi salam says faith, iman, is divided into 4 sections. Section number 1, التوكل على الله. Put your trust in God. There is God there. It's not vacant. He does not vacate his seat. He's there, always there. Put your trust in God. Put your trust in God. God is not going to fail you. In every enterprise in this life, in every project, there are 2 elements. One, God, the second, man. God plus man. Neither God alone, nor man alone. We and God. God says, if you do your business, if you do your homework, if you do your share, if you are sincere, dedicated, not lazy, you finish your work, leave the rest with me and don't worry. I do my homework too. This is what God says. I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm not going to leave you alone. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ. God says to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in these battles, it was not you, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ, that launched the arrows towards with 100% precision. It wasn't you. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. God was behind you, backing you. God was there, backing you. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. And this is when you put your trust. But provided that we do our share. Sometimes we fail because we don't do our share. We leave the whole package on God. We want to sit and rest, as Bani Israel said to their prophet Musa, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنا هاهنا قاعدون. Please, we want to enjoy the food and the drink. You go with your Lord and you take care of this. Don't call upon us. We fail because we don't do our share. But if we do our share with sincerity, with ikhlas, with professionalism, this is also missing. I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. The work that many Muslims do is not professional. But if we do it with professionalism, God is going to do His homework too. He's not going to fail you. God is going to support you. And always say, وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. After doing your share, say, I relegate, I delegate my affair to Allah. So I entrust God for my affair, in my affair. وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. Why? إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. God knows every single details. He knows. Musa alayhi salam, among all the prophets, he performed the greatest miracle. Musa alayhi salam. If you read the Quran, the greatest miracles were performed by Musa. But Musa himself, he was hesitant. He was indecisive. He lacked self-confidence. This is what God says in the book. God said to him, take this cane, it will turn into a huge snake. Go, this is your weapon. This is the weapon that you have against Pharaoh. And then he went and he knows God is telling him, this is God. This is not a mayor or a governor, or this is God. But فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً مُوسَى. When he stood before Pharaoh and he saw the army of Pharaoh and how many snakes they have, فَأَوْجَسَ, he felt inside apprehension and fear. He lacked self-confidence. God called upon him immediately. قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ. Do not fear, do not be hesitant. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. You are victorious. You are the winner. You are the superior. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. وَأَلْقِ مَا فِي يَمِينِكَ. Cast out what you have in your right hand. تَلْقَفْ. It is going to devour and swallow what they created. These snakes that they created. إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ. Things that they made are the tricks of a sorcerer, a magician. They are not real. وَلَا يَفْلَحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى. A sorcerer, a magician is not going to succeed. So Musa, who performed the greatest miracle, was someone like me and you. He had a lot of hesitation. But he was backed by God. God said to him and his brother on the first day, when he said, God, how do you want me to stand before this empire, this emperor, this superman? He has weapon, he has wealth. رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ آتَيْتَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَمَلَأَهُ زِينَةً وَأَمْوَالًا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. You have given them these superpowers. How can I face him? God said to him and his brother, إِنَّنِي مَعَكُمَا أَسْمَعُ وَأَرَى. A father who sends his son to school, he sends, son, I'm backing you. You are not going to remain hungry, without money, without car, I am there. Just do your business, I am backing you. This sentence is being said to all of us, not by our biological fathers, but by our Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And God's promises are always true, always true. Put your trust in God and go ahead and overcome this state of hesitation that you have. Go ahead with your projects, with your life, with full optimism, with full optimism because God is backing you. On November 27th, Sunday, some of our brothers and sisters in this community, some of the volunteers are going to go for a food drive to Los Angeles, the Skid Row. So they're going to gather here at 12, inshallah, noon on Sunday, November 27th. The brothers and the sisters, if you want to volunteer, you can join them here, be here at noon, inshallah, to drive with the food, inshallah. They're going to prepare the hot meals for the homeless people in Los Angeles. And next Thursday, which is the 24th, we don't have a program here. We want you to spend your time with your families, with your extended families, inshallah, at home. And happy Thanksgiving to all of you, inshallah. Allahumma aghfir al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات. Regarding the full-time Islamic school, inshallah, soon you're going to hear good news, inshallah. Promising news, inshallah ta'ala. وعجل في فرج سيدنا ومولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآله